Hello everyone and welcome back to Corey Loses, where today we are once again continuing our Thrawn's Revenge Imperial Civil War 2.2 preview playthrough as the Pentastar alignment. In the last episode we tried to consolidate our holdings a little bit more up here. We're trying to dig in over here. We did get pushed off of some of our planets in the Hapes territory over here, in the Hapes cluster rather. And we are trying to gather some forces with Cisco to take care of this last major Greater Maldrood fleet. So we're just going to get a probe droid to see what we can do there. And I think we were building at Telos. We were trying to get up to our last few trade ports just to get our income as high as we can. And I think that is it. That's all the trade ports we're going to be able to build.
Building under construction.
So we're building up some more of these ships over here at Jameson and Trala and Yaga Minor to send over to the fleet. We do have a few more patrons for the fleet. We have Blessed Knee, we have Spartan Pride, and we have Devastator. So we're going to add those guys to our fleet as soon as we can afford them. But for now, we're going to try to figure out a way. You know what? Let's actually combine these guys. Let's see what we can do with that. Did they just go in directly to Findar when we left?
Construction complete.
Where did that fleet go? It looks like they popped up over here. I kind of want to go take the space over Mandalore. Because, yeah, that fleet is mostly going over here. We're going to be able to go in pretty... Yeah, that's going to be safe for us. Let's do it.
I see. Construction complete.
I don't think we'll be able to actually take Mandalore right now.
Complete.
Or I don't want to try to take Mandalore right now.
Vehicle in production.
Let's just build Blessed Knee over here along with that. And then we'll just get Devastator in right after. But it's just the station we have to worry about here. We can probably get our army in here with Jarek and take out the stuff on Mandalore. It should be doable. Just wasn't sure if we want to do that just yet. But I think that is the best bet. Take it out and then keep working our way into the territory. Try to cut them off if we can. Because I don't want them... I'd rather they didn't go and take all the Imperial territory. I want to take the Imperial territory. And them having it would be kind of counterintuitive to that. Or counterproductive for our purposes. But I think this fleet should be able to pretty easily take out that... not easily, but it should be able to at least take out that fleet. The big Maldrood one.
Reinforcements canceled.
Right, you don't want to fit in there. Does Shunan's boat party? Oh, I saw it green.
Moving to
oh, even better. And we can get the Zeke Freak in here. We can get Rusan's Tears in here.
Star Destroyer standing by.
For the battle with that Maldrood fleet, we'd probably have to stick with just the Praetors and some Psych-Eaters. The fact that they have allegiances will mean that, even though they have Psych-Eaters, we might have the upper hand with fighters as long as we have some Praetors in there.
Interceptor here.
Awaiting orders.
Alright, we're good.
Retreat aborted.
Awaiting
No!
your command.
Not retreat aborted.
I'm losing. Excellent shot.
Your command, sir.
Oh well, there's not really much here
Moving to
anyways.
coordinates.
Commander, they're hitting us. Where'd he go? We are
There we go.
victorious.
Right, so what I've been working on for the last few days is
Complete.
we've been rolling out the GCs for testing in phases
Enemy fleet
essentially.
approaching.
Where are you coming in at? It's probably going into... Yeah, transitory miss.
Tactical battle imminent.
Yeah, we can't beat that with that fleet, but
System
we can do
lost.
this. And let's just go into the planet right now. But yeah, so what I've been working on is we've been rolling out the GCs in phases, so it'll be like groups of 2 or 3. There's 5 phases, 6 maybe? Maybe even 7.
Commencing.
But anyways, there's the first phase and the second phase were like the Thrawn campaign, Hunt for Zinj, Back to War, they have, I believe, Stars Align, and
Choose your
some of the other
reinforcements.
smaller, simpler GCs that don't have as many changes. The next phase that we're going to be rolling out to them is Endor Aftermath, and which is the one that has all the warlords and stuff that's set right after Endor, as the name implies. But it's sort of like the replacement for the old Fractured Empire and Stars Align GCs, which were basically the same GC. But yeah, so that's what those are. And the reason that's important is because the Endor Aftermath one is where we're setting up a lot of the new structures for some of the story scripting. So that's what I've been working on for the last day or so, getting everything finalized as far as that goes. We're trying to make it so that typically how it would be set up is you'd have the story file or the story events for each faction set up in a different file. So each version of the GC, you'd have a story file for a faction if it was playable and a story file for a faction if it was not playable. So like there's a playable version of the Rebel story, a non-playable version of the Rebel story, and there's also the we'd have to have a version of usually the Rebels that was for when the Warlords were playable, because you can't do story events or story files for factions other than the original 3 playable ones, so the Rebels, Empire, and Underworld. It's just factions that aren't named those 3 things can't use it. Why did I build this here? I wanted this. And so what we're trying to do, we need certain stuff with the raid fleets and with the GC Lewis scripts. What we're trying to do is have it so that it's the same 3 files that are always used. There'll be a...
Right behind you.
So the Underworld story file is always going to be used for spawning Underworld hero or Empire of the Hand heroes and doing their tech locking and unlocking when they are there. But we're also putting them, we're tying that script into the main Galactic Conquest script, so the thing that controls all the other events, all the emergent faction events and all that. So I'm trying to set it up so there's different flags and tags that apply, that check who the playable faction is, and then fire the events based on that. So we only need to keep one file with all the events and not have like 7 different versions of the events if we want them in every GC, and then have different events that fire depending on who the playable faction is. It's much easier that way. It's much cleaner, and it's a lot easier to update if we do add more factions or if we have other stuff we want to change. So it's pretty slow to set up the first time, but it's a lot of universal stuff, so once the scripts are basically set up, they can be applied to every GC, and a lot of the same events can be applied to every GC if there's the same... Like the thing where if you're playing as the Greater Maldrood and you capture the Antimeridian sector, it spawns stuff. Like there's no reason to code that into the game 17 times. So we have it set up so that you only really have to use it one time.
Bomber standing by. Commence attack run.
But yeah, so there's that going on. There's also some of the AI work that's going on.
Deploying. We've sighted them.
I have a list of all the last heroes and units that need to be coded. So we're really getting close to being ready at this point. Like it's not quite ready yet, but you're gonna start to see a lot more of the final stuff coming out.
Firing.
Providing covering fire.
Unit destroyed.
All right, let's get Jarek over here.
Unit destroyed.
I want one of these. There you go.
Reporting. Target acquired.
At least we didn't lose a lot.
Yes, Commander.
But yeah, so the progressive, as soon as that part's done that I was just talking about, you should see a news post about the progressive era GCs covering the changes to those, as well as what the new era system entails and all the different potential era changes are, because there are some different ways to go through the eras. There's depending on which way you end up going through the eras, especially as the Imperial Remnant, there are different there's some differences to what can happen. So if you were looking at some of the updates in the early phases of 2.2 being developed, we had something called the regime change system, where the Imperial player, rather than sending their hero around the galaxy trying to get them killed in battle, we made it so that you could purchase an upgrade and then that would automatically do it for you.
Sensor node
But we tried to flesh that out into a more actually story-based
Suppressive fire.
kind of thing,
armament available.
so that you get you'll get certain missions that you can either choose to do or not do. Like there's a change between St. Pestage and Isanisard for within Era 1, which isn't really an era change. It's all still within the first era technically, but like you can either choose to side with her and execute Project Ambition, which puts her in charge, and if you do that before someone else takes Coruscant or before St. Pestage dies of blaster wounds or something, if you assassinate him or make him go away, then you get some additional heroes that you wouldn't get otherwise. Specifically, I think we went with Milton Tackle, Grand Admiral Milton Tackle, and Grand Admiral Afshin Makati. So those are two pretty good fleet heroes for you, and it also changed probably some other stuff. But
Awaiting orders.
I was thinking about making it so that you only get Lusankia that way, but that doesn't really make sense, and that's a pretty big dip in power. So
Bombardment
not going to go with that. But
Our base is under attack.
so the next thing I do want to work on is getting these guys to not just guard their bases like that.
Bombing run available.
Bomber squadron reporting.
AT-AT destroyed.
Copy. Commencing.
But anyways,
bombing
yeah,
run.
so that's being changed. I think there's a sensor
Target
node. No,
locked.
there's not a sensor node over there. But
I copy.
there's that. There's
As you wish.
also when Palpatine dies,
Heading for
when the
attack
Eclipse
position.
dies, you end up in Era 3 has a second part as well, which is the Crimson Empire, which is Karnor Jax and
Yes,
the Royal
sir.
Guard.
Moving out.
And there's also some other stuff that'll be tied into Dala. Basically just trying to put more story in and also put in more ways for the Imperial player to progress the eras if they so choose, without having to go on suicide runs with their heroes necessarily. So, like, it's always going to be the case that going later in eras is
System
more
control
advantageous to the other
achieved.
factions, and you're kind of trying to keep the
Building
Empire together as the Empire,
Construction complete.
or as the Remnant. But now there's other story mechanisms in there to help make it feel a bit better than it did before. We're gonna have to restart building those guys. Because yeah, before it just, if you did want to go into later eras, it just felt
Constructing.
weird trying to get to them with if you were trying to like fly around the galaxy and suicide your SSD heroes, which is a lot easier now. If you're trying to get your SSDs killed, there are plenty of ways, but it still wasn't ideal. So hopefully this will work better for people. And if we want to go into Contrim like this, yeah, let's go. Let's just go straight in.
Tactical battle imminent.
I'm not going to auto-resolve because these are mostly patron ships, and I don't want to lose Cisco in auto-resolve. But yeah, there will be a full update talking about all the changes to that, so it's not just me speaking off the cuff later. But it shouldn't be too far off. Because once all those events are done,
Awaiting your command.
that's the
Forward.
big work in GC, and it'd be fairly similar whether we were doing
Full
5
speed.
GCs or the 20.
Moving.
It's really just getting that basic structure
There they
set up
are.
and making
Blast them
sure
right away.
all the basics of it
Moving
work.
out.
And that's where we are now. Trying to make
Choose your reinforcements.
sure our final system here is going to be something that we can use. The big thing is trying to make sure that this
Order
system
confirmed.
the systems that we're putting in place with 2.2
Reinforcements
can
en
also be
route.
used in 2.3. So we're not rewriting the entire mod every time we want to make certain changes. Because that's one of the big things that's been taking a lot of time with 2.3, is trying to sort of future-proof it. So let's send Lost Kings in here with these guys. We have the Zeke Creek again, and this is just a regular secular.
Our target
But yeah, so
priority
the big
is
thing we want to do is make sure that
engaging the enemy.
even if we make significant changes to balancing or to content,
Cannons armed.
it's easier to make those changes. So plugging in a faction becomes just editing the GC files and maybe 1 or 2 other files rather than rewriting every single GC
Order
script
confirmed.
and that kind of thing. much easier this way. And making sure that unit variance, which is something I think I talked about last time, instead of having like 17 copies of an ISD, which is how it worked up until last week, we have that overall script. We can just add in some extra faction tags to that. We can add some extra affiliation tags to the unit code, and then we're good. And it just makes our lives a lot easier. It's not the kind of thing that you'll necessarily notice a lot of when you're actually playing, but when we don't have to spend as much time working on that kind of stuff, it means we can focus more time on the actual content that makes the mod better or gives you more to play with in the mod. So things like reworking the AI, which will significantly need to be reworked, or even just adding more factions or adding more ships. It all becomes a lot more feasible when I'm not spending all of my time editing the unit entries for the 17 ISDs instead of being able to go into 3ds Max or Wings and push out another ship model. Because it's been like a year since I've been able to do that, because I've just been working on all this code stuff. But yeah, so hopefully that all makes sense. But that's essentially where our priorities lay right now. And that's also why you can see there will be some significant changes that come in 2.3, not quite as extensive as the changes between 2.1 and 2.2, but it also won't take anywhere near the same amount of time. And the same thing with future versions of Fall of the Republic. Well, future version, I mean every version of Fall of the Republic. It'll benefit significantly from these things as well. Alright, so you guys just clearly don't want it. You just shoot in. Your boat party has left the ocean.
I have calculated the possibilities. I am available.
Awaiting orders.
What is your analysis?
Our target priority is the laser gun.
Yeah, you do this. Grant, you get in there. Secular, you get in there. And maybe the Praetor can actually get in here as well.
Star Destroyer standing by.
Ready for command.
If you guys want to just go straight for the station.
Choose your position wisely.
Oh, here.
You are in need of my expertise?
We're being targeted. I've got him. Watch your back.
Star Destroyer reporting in.
No, you're good over there. That's fine.
I assume you need my help.
You won't be around much longer. Target critical.
The lasers are our target.
Because I'm still kind of looking at all the stuff for 2.3, all the options we have for 2.3, and trying to figure out which are the most important. I'm gonna basically compile all the possibilities, which I said that word because Thrawn says, which is actually Grant. I have considered it, yeah. Anyways. So I'm going to get everything together that we could focus on, and we're going to pick what's the most important stuff within the team. We'll discuss that a bit, and then we should be able to hit the ground running with 2.3. But I also do want to take like maybe 3 days off would be nice, and just probably just record or set up all the. I'm just never going to stop. Whatever.
Choose your reinforcements.
Engaging the enemy.
We're on the move.
Right. Now you're gonna retreat. Let's get we've got Tomcat and Hood in here.
We're on the move. Maneuvering. Heading out, sir.
I'm on this one.
Oh, that's not Hood. That's just an enforcer. Never mind. We lost Kings. So I'm gonna get Lost Kings back.
In production.
We got you guys. What was it? Liana that was building? No. Oh, there we go. Plus me. And we should be able to build. Oh, Spartan's Prize is getting built there, so we'll be able to build Devastator in this area as well. There we go. Let's get Devastator.
Constructing unit.
And let's get a Venator.
Complete.
You need to go over here.
Advancing.
That could be a good target for us.
Cruiser reporting.
Yeah, it seems like they split off the fleet a bit.
Construction complete.
Hold on.
Vehicle in production.
Let's do that. I don't want to abandon the planet, but I mean we'll have to come back and no. Took too long to decide. Are they coming for Contrum? Sometimes they'll do that. They get really annoyed if you hold their planets. Findar. $16.
I knew you would say that.
I don't think I have a Pathfinder unit set there, because Lost Kings died. But we'll see what we end up with. It's 6 and 16. We have an HV gun. That's always good to end up with. We have an so people have been asking in the comments what the point is of having 2 HV guns on the planet. It actually does reduce the cooldown of the weapon. So I'm not sure how much it reduces it by. I don't think it's by half, which is what you might expect. I'm not sure what it is, but it's significant enough that I usually feel like it's worth it. Especially considering we don't need as much production. Right, did it give us just the small ships? Yeah, cool. That's fine. Let's get you back here though a little bit. Because this is the setup I wanted essentially. So if I lose this, it's all my fault. I'm not going to blame... I mean, I can still blame pathfinding or something, but I'm not going to blame the ship selection we had at the start here. I'm perfectly fine with this.
Excellent shot.
Die squadron standing by. Your command, sir.
Less so the interdictor,
Course set.
but
Ready for battle.
that's hardly going to make or break it.
Copy.
What is
So
it
let's
you
select it
want?
all. Let's get these 10 bombers. Let's go over there.
Falling out of formation.
Roger that.
We've lost the shield generator.
Draw their fire. Attack formation.
Okay, that's just a regular Venator. We have Secular up here. Relena's going to be in here. Gantrathor. Alright, Relena, you need to stop there.
Take out the iron cannons.
I'm on them.
This is just a regular Praetor as well.
Ready for the kill.
We have Grant too. Okay, let's get you up front. Grant, you're going to stay closer to the back. We're just going to use your
Those iron cannons.
They're hitting
your
us.
bonus.
You have need of
I'm
my
going to get you to a
skills.
point where you can potentially shoot some stuff there.
Right away.
Rebel's End.
I copy. Lasers are down. I've got him. Falling out of formation.
Draw their fire.
Alright, Achilles.
Destroyer here.
I didn't check how many of those they had. Let's see if we can potentially take out the shields on this guy. We can't. Got halfway there. That would have been
Copy.
really good,
Get behind them.
but we're still in decent shape.
Frequency open.
Who are you? Lost Kings again.
I've got him.
Gonna lose Lost Kings 2 battles in a row. I'm sorry.
Choose your
Alright,
reinforcements.
let's see if we can just get Tomcat in here and do any good.
Laser cannons disabled.
Sir, reporting. I've got him.
Shield's almost gone.
Star Destroyer standing by.
Choose your reinforcements.
I've got him.
We're running out of
Star
fighters.
Destroyer reporting in.
Okay, you can stop there.
Under control.
Even if we don't wipe everything out here, we're probably going to get a good chunk of them.
Choose
Can
your
we bring in another Secular? Yes, we can.
He's coming around.
Get Razgriz in here.
reinforcements en route.
Awaiting orders.
Warm up.
It's too bad we don't have any more
Returning to your position.
of the
Eliminating target.
Hypervelocity cannon firing.
Raiders. That's what I want.
Watch for enemy ships.
I've got them in my sights.
So I want to say we've taken out, what, two
Open fire.
Seculars so
Our
far?
target priority is the laser cannons.
Instructions received.
Awaiting your command.
Falling out
Your
of
command.
formation.
Attack that target.
Draw their
Commander,
fire. Excellent shot.
take out the iron
For
cannons.
another run.
Our primary
Getting
engine
close.
system is down.
Go after the stragglers.
That'll be 3, that'll be 4, this will be 5.
Reporting in.
Let's get you up there a little
Yes,
bit.
sir.
I already have a plan.
Do you
I
have
have calculated the possibilities.
Click.
any... Okay, so you do have some anti-fighter.
After them.
Taking fire.
If they start getting to the point where it looks like they're going to get to Grant, then I'll probably retreat. But for now,
We've lost the iron cannons.
I would like to do something about these fighters.
Hypervelocity gun available.
That's good.
Hypervelocity cannon firing.
I'm really just looking for the opportunity to hit the
Warm up. Attacking target.
shield gen out.
Choose your reinforcements.
I've got him.
Okay, you went up farther than I thought I told you to.
Deactivated.
But probably did, so whatever.
Destroyer here. Fire at will.
Sir,
Our primary target is those iron.
Choose your reinforcements.
Here we go. There's another secutor.
En route.
Our engines are gone, sir.
Still not getting that. You want to go for Grant, that's why you're flying around like that. That wants
Our
Rebels End.
shields are down.
They all want Rebels End.
Copy. Attacking. Our launch bay is gone.
Right, let's try to use these guys to hit
Fire.
stuff all at once.
Hypervelocity gun available.
Commander, they're hitting us.
They have mostly fighters instead of bombers, so they're not going to be able to really make too much of a dent in our shields. Sorry, Secutor, but
Hypervelocity cannon
standing in the way of
firing.
progress.
The iron cannons are offline.
getting a lock.
Enemies in range.
I've got
Target locked. Ion engine.
See if we can get. No, they're going to come focus on our fighters.
You have a strategy.
Choose
That's
your
rude.
reinforcements.
The lasers are our target.
Alright. It's starting to get too expensive, so let's get out of here before Grant starts taking too much damage. We lost a couple ISDs. I think we lost one Secutor as well. Nothing too expensive, but we've taken out a lot of their Secutors.
Formation.
We lost a Venator too. Yeah, so it looks like we lost a lot, but it's mostly smaller ships. Party Starter, unfortunately, Tomcat, Venator. But these are 3 capital ships that we lost. They lost 4. Considering the fighter difference there, that's not too bad.
Construction complete.
Send that fleet to combine, and then I'm going to go in with a Pathfinder this time.
moving out.
I think that would have made a huge difference if we went in with
Star Destroyer
Pathfinder
reporting in.
that last battle, but it's still better to have that option. And we'll have some anti-fighter this time, which we didn't.
That will do.
Construction complete.
Alright, that plus the hypervelocity gun, and I think we're good.
Reinforcements available.
Alright,
Choose your reinforcements.
so let's put Grant in the back.
That should work nicely.
Let's get... No, I don't want you.
Reinforcements canceled.
Let's just put a bunch of carriers around him, and we'll see if we can get fighter superiority this time, and then we'll bring in some heavy hitters if these Secutors start going down.
Reinforcements en route.
So Venators have some good fighters on them.
Moving out.
Definitely get the anti-fighter in the middle here. We'll get
Setting course.
you guys in there. So who do we have? We have Gantrathor. We have just a regular Secutor. Actually, let's put in this VSD-1 as
Coming
well.
about.
Go after the stragglers.
Star Cruiser
We
here.
have Nemrith Knights on this side. We have Fire Vindication over here. Spartan's Pride. Razgriz,
What is it
and
you
Grant in the
want?
back.
Comlink.
So let's get
Regroup for another attack.
Ready for the kill.
all of our fighters here. Let's get you guys there. You guys are going to be group.
Ready.
Roger that. Taking fire.
Commander, they're hitting us.
Form up. Awaiting orders.
There you go, group 1.
TIE squadron here.
You have need of my skills?
You TIE Fighters, group 2. You
I already have a plan.
guys, group 3.
Hypervelocity cannon firing.
Right, group 1, go and hit that.
I have them now.
Group 2,
I'm on them.
stay over here. Group 3, go hit the fighters that are going to come for group 1. Actually, group 2,
Target locked.
stay that way as well.
TIEs reporting in. Coming around. I've got them in my
I
sight.
have calculated the possibilities.
Coming back.
Roger that. Getting a lock.
Can we bring in an ISD or something? No, VSD2. You can bring in Justice, sure.
I'm on them. I got. We've lost the shield generator.
Let's do that. Justice, sure, and a VSD2.
Destination confirmed.
This is gonna be a mess.
Form up.
I am available.
I stayed so close to the edge of the map. They're all just going straight for Grant.
I copy. Targeting.
Locking on. Copy.
Bombers go over there. Oh my god. Everything's just a cluster.
Hypervelocity cannon firing.
Reporting.
What is your analysis?
Getting a lock.
We have the fighter. This would be going much worse if we had an SSD, so...
Primary engine system is down. Our shields are down. Star Destroyer standing by.
I'm waiting.
Okay, stop there, because they are going after you. Let's bring in... Who's that? Stormcast? No, Silver Shadow.
Yes, target squadron moving out.
Oh my god. Ugly secutors all over the place. I don't think they're set up to use multilayer right now.
You are in need of my expertise?
Yes, sir.
This is such a mess.
Star Destroyer reporting in.
Copy. Affirmative.
Okay, there is some ship. It's probably the secutor with bones that are misaligned. So I'll have to check the rig for every ship in this battle.
Firing. Direct fire.
What has
to the
quad
end.
turbo
They've
lasers?
destroyed our ion
Dual
cannon.
turbo laser. Hold on. I'm gonna pause that next time I see it. That is definitely a quad. Dual ion, dual turbo, dual ion. Quad turbos in the middle here. So I think it's probably them. The Allegiance has them as well, though, so I'll have to check. It's got to be one of those two. Probably the second, because it was reported, but I wasn't sure. It's hard to tell specifically what ship's it's coming from.
I'm on them.
Stay in formation.
I assume you need my help.
We've lost our turbo lasers.
This is all starting to clear up a little bit.
Sir.
Get the fighters over there. No, Group 3, you're gonna come back over this way.
Get behind him. I have them. Yes, Commander.
Form up.
Enemies in range.
Thrawn reporting.
Target locked.
At your command.
Target. I'm on them.
Choose your reinforcements.
We've actually lost a lot in that last few seconds there. So let's bring in Rusan's Tears on this side.
Ready.
Regroup for another attack.
Awaiting your orders.
Bomber standing by.
Excellent shot. Ready for command, sir. They're coming in quick.
Reporting.
Admiral Thrawn reporting.
Spartan's Pride, you're
Moving out.
Ready for battle.
Target.
in rough shape, but you're not dead.
Bomber targeting. Copy that.
Pursuing enemy forces. Taking them out.
Awaiting orders. The shields are
Targeting
holding.
the enemy. I'm on this one.
Losing power.
Stay in formation.
Hypervelocity cannon firing.
Okay, it's gonna be all secutors from here on out.
You have something to report.
So like you can see, fighters, they aren't able to like take out entire ships on their own, but you can see how much they're actually influencing the battle still.
Initiating attack. What is it you
Yeah, I
want?
don't like that they're getting that much damage in on Grant.
Scopes are jammed.
Awaiting your command.
Fire. Under control.
Order confirmed.
Tightening up.
Destroy the shield generator.
Let's finish it.
Ready for
Okay,
the kill.
we can slew in there.
Reinforcements.
Weapons online.
The launch bay is gone.
Intercepting. I'm on them. Shields almost down.
Okay, you focus on the fighters.
Coming around.
You have need of my skills?
Awaiting orders.
Gun them down.
Copy.
Let's get you in a bit closer.
Go after them.
That's just a regular raider.
Enemies in range.
Group 3, get in here.
Nowhere to run.
I copy.
Returning to your position.
Your command, sir. Engaging the enemy.
Choose your reinforcements.
I already have a plan.
Hypervelocity
3,
cannon
4,
available.
5.
Hypervelocity cannon firing.
Copy.
Getting a lock.
always kind of scary to kill one of them because they're just going to come back. Or they're not going to come back, but
Falling out of formation. Closing on target. Draw their fire.
they are going to bring in a couple more.
Reporting in. We've got them on scopes. I copy. Initiating attack.
Okay, we're going to start losing
I have
fighters faster, but Grant doesn't have engines.
We're in attack position.
Closing
Let's
on
see if these
target.
raiders
Let's
can,
move out.
or if this raider
Roger that.
can do his work.
Commencing.
This Praetor's got to do work too.
Yes, sir.
What are your orders?
Form up.
Let's get you guys up there so that you're actually going to be
Attack.
bringing in damage on them.
Reporting.
I probably should sacrifice that.
Awaiting
See if we can get
instructions.
another
Yes, Commander.
Praetor in or something.
Let's go.
But we're getting there.
Initiating attack.
I am available.
Hypervelocity gun available. Hypervelocity cannon firing.
The
Target.
shield on Destroyer holding. here.
They're going to start bringing in more allegiances too.
What is your
Yes,
analysis?
Commander.
This might be the end of Grant.
Target sighted.
Waiting command.
Our launch bay has been destroyed. Fire. Open fire. Attack that
I'm
target.
waiting.
Ready. Keep going.
Let's get you back here.
I copy. Attacking target.
I don't want to lose the
This way.
Raider.
Choose your reinforcements.
I really don't want to lose Grant, but it looks like that's going to be how
Ready.
this ends.
Attack.
Standing by. Star Cruiser
Reporting.
here.
Our target priority is the laser cannons.
Not there. No AI. Oh, no plan, I think that means. If they were using those, they'd be able to do that.
Choose your position wisely. Target confirmed.
See, we've mostly been changing the
Taken out our
defensive AI. We haven't touched the aggressive AI at all, or not aggressive, the
Velocity cannon firing.
tactical
Standing
AI.
by.
You are in need
So
of
that'll have to be
expertise.
something that we look at a bit more too.
Roger that.
'Cause we were mostly concerned about getting rid of the behaviors where it just wanted to park places. But this is a behavior where it just wanted to park places.
Our primary engine system is down. Our lasers are destroyed.
I assume
Alright,
you
Grant,
need
don't
my
go
help.
too far up. Can we get another one in?
Reinforcements
Yes, we
have been
can. That's
disabled.
just a regular Praetor 2. Let's get Yoda's Bane in here.
At maximum unit capacity.
Might even be able to save Grant. Now that I said it, we won't,
Fire
but
on the shield generator.
I'm on this one.
Copy. Attack.
Cruiser reporting.
I got him. Under control.
I copy.
He's
Fire.
about to be destroyed.
The lasers are
Tractor
our
beam
target.
deactivated. The iron
our fighters aren't in the
cannons
worst
are
position
operational.
Our
either.
target
Okay, we need to
priority is
get
the laser
Target locked.
cannons. The lasers are our
Turbo
target.
Laser.
Batteries have been
I'll
disabled.
take care of this.
Hypervelocity
No,
gun
bye, Grant.
available.
He died for a good cause.
Narrowing position.
Hypervelocity cannon firing.
Kept him in the back, tried to protect him, but
Target locked.
Choose
I
your
think it's worth the
reinforcements.
sacrifice here.
Tightening up.
Our target priority is the laser cannons. The lasers are our target.
Let's finish him.
Our shields are down.
Engines are malfunctioning.
Gunship reporting.
Primary drive system is down. The launch bay is gone.
Getting a lock.
Our target priority is the laser cannons.
Awaiting
I'm surprised
command.
this Raider is still alive.
The lasers are our target.
Sir,
Okay, see if you can hit that.
reporting in.
You guys can hit this one. And soon we should be able to bring in another
Excellent shot.
Praetor.
Order confirmed. Destroy the shield generator.
Choose your
Enemy
reinforcements.
forces.
Need one more pop cap. Well, we're gonna lose Rusan's tears for this.
Our
Hypervelocity
target
gun
priority
available.
is the laser cannons.
Hypervelocity cannon firing.
But we're getting close. And then we just have to hope the Empire of the Hand doesn't attack us, because this was like 3 of our fleets we put together for this.
Intercepting. He won't be around much longer.
I mean, ideally we wouldn't have to lose
The lasers are our target.
Rusan's Tears here, but I don't think that's realistic.
Copy that. Heading out.
I could have just kept trying to like pick off their territory and eventually destroy this fleet, or hope someone else deals with it, but that's less exciting to watch. So,
Our target priority is the laser cannon.
cost-benefit analysis there was just do it.
Our lasers are down.
Alright, we can send in... We did just lose the Raider.
The lasers are our target.
There's some blue fighters, haven't seen that in a while.
Available. Hypervelocity cannon firing.
Bomber squadron reporting.
Choose your reinforcements.
Rip Rusan's Tears, but that's going to mean we come in and this will be it. Helmsman, you can hit that.
Craft.
Razgriz, you can hit that. I'm surprised Razgriz survived. Yoda's Bane.
Target critical.
I'm going to try to take out the engines on this guy before they can retreat.
Destroy the engines.
Because I think this means Maldrood is basically down to no
Direct fire on
ships.
the engines.
They have a couple small fleets floating around, but that's
I got one.
pretty much it. So if the Empire decides to strike back, or if even the Empire of the Hand has access to some Maldrood territory, I think, but the New Republic as well. It's going to be a good time for them.
Hypervelocity gun available. Hypervelocity
Let's help
cannon
Razgriz out, because the
Watch him. He's coming around.
Praetors are probably fine with Event Horizon.
He's about to be destroyed.
So we've got Siegfried
Turning to your position.
and
He's
Yoda's
headed your
Bane.
direction.
There's going to be so much to rebuild after this.
Choose your reinforcements.
Our target priority is the laser cannons.
Ready for orders.
Direct all fire on the
Tighten
shield
up.
generator.
Let's finish him.
The lasers are our target.
Bombers at the ready.
Our target priority is the laser cannons.
Alright. So, no engines, we got it. Ugh.
Hypervelocity gun available.
That's like hundreds of thousands of credits on both sides. And Grant. Ultimately, okay, so what did we lose? These guys, not huge losses. We lost 2 Seculators, which are kind of a big deal, 1 Praetor, and a couple other smaller ships. The Shister, yeah, Justisher, it's up there, so what, let's see. What is it, 14,000, that's about 30,000, 40,000 between these two, 44,000. So I think that we're at about 50 to 60,000 credits that we lost there, and they lost probably over 100, all things considered. But we are now very thin on fleets. I mean, we have Kane's, who's in a pretty good spot. We have the Yinkor fleet, which is in a pretty good spot. But our 3 Eastern fleets had to be combined for that. And it looks like the New Republic is getting ready for some stuff over here. Which, let's figure out what that is.
Unit in
Get a probe
production.
droid there. Let's get our shipyards building these guys back up. Let's get Party Starter,
Constructing unit.
get Silver
Unit in
Shadow and
production.
Tomcat. Let's get Lost
Constructing
Kings back
unit.
and Liana. Let's get yeah.
Unit in production.
As many vendors as we can back. They're starting to rebuild as well. We can't let them do that. Let's go
Star Cruiser here.
straight back into Contrim before they have a chance. It looks like it's just going to be the level 1 station. They're not going to have any golems there yet. Let's get you guys to get it to Severo. What's actually going on with the New Republic there?
Tactical battle imminent.
Just going to auto-resolve. But we're almost at 45 minutes there, so I think we're going to call it there for today's episode. Tomorrow we will have a new episode, and then I'm not sure what I'm going to stream tomorrow. Well, by the time this is up, I probably have it scheduled already. But I was thinking an Ascendancy community match, but I might just play some other EAW, and we'll see how that goes. Because we tried to do an EAW community match Thursday night, which is when I'm recording this, and the game just wasn't cooperating. And I don't know if we want to try that again, or if we want to do an Ascendancy one, or what. But anyways, thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.